Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about something that I think hits home for pretty much all of us. That huge, gaping chasm between what we learned in a classroom and what we actually need to know to get by in the real world. So, does this line sound familiar to you? It's that simple promise, right? The one so many of us grew up hearing. For a lot of us, this one idea became the entire foundation for how we thought about school, our future, everything. And we believed it. We really did. But, let's be real here for a second. Is that actually what happens? For most of us, the second we walked out of those school doors, we realized life had a completely different curriculum waiting for us, one that our report cards did absolutely nothing to prepare us for. To really dig into this, let's follow the story of a guy named Ravi. And I bet you'll probably see a little bit of yourself in him. Ravi wasn't a genius or a slacker. He was just a solid, average student who did what he was told and truly believed in that one simple promise. Wow. This really paints a picture, doesn't it? On the left, you've got Ravi's academic toolkit. It's jam-packed with formulas, historical dates, and memorized definitions. But then you look at the right and you see what life really requires. Knowing how to handle rejection, how to negotiate for respect, how to just survive a major setback. None of those skills were ever on a single test. So, Ravi's graduated. He's got his degree in hand, a head full of dreams, and he's ready for his first real-world exam, the job market. He's feeling pretty confident, thinking his good grades are the golden ticket. But, well, he was in for a rude awakening. This is what he kept hearing over and over and over again in his job interviews. Can you imagine how crushing that is? He suddenly realized that his grades, the one thing he thought was his greatest strength, just weren't cutting it. School had taught him how to answer questions, sure, but not how to actually show his own value as a person. And here it is, the lesson school never, ever teaches. Rejection. It is not a final judgment on your self-worth. It's just feedback. It's a data point telling you something about your approach, not about you. But without that perspective, every single no feels like a personal attack. And because he didn't have that framework, Ravi did what so many of us do. He internalized every single no. Each rejection just chipped away at his confidence until he fell into that really dangerous trap of believing that he was the problem, that he just wasn't good enough. So, after a struggle, Ravi does finally land a job. But guess what? With that very first paycheck comes a whole new set of lessons that were definitely not on the syllabus: money and relationships. This right here is such a classic trap. We're all taught to focus so hard on earning money that we kind of just assume we'll automatically know how to manage it. But as Ravi was about to find out, those are two completely different ballgames. And here's what happened. Ravi started spending money to look successful, not to actually build success. Instead of saving or investing, his income was just getting devoured. Half of it gone to EMIs for a car, another huge chunk to lifestyle inflation, just nicer stuff, and the rest swallowed up by credit cards. There was nothing left. And isn't that the ultimate irony? We all sat through that math class where they taught us about the magic of compound interest and how it can make you rich, but nobody ever explained how absolutely devastating that same magic is when it's working against you in the form of credit card debt. Now, the lessons didn't just stop with his bank account. Oh no. While school taught him about chemical reactions in a lab, life was giving him a crash course in emotional chemistry. He really struggled to set boundaries with colleagues who would just pile work on him. He couldn't say no to friends who were taking advantage of his kindness. And he learned the really painful lesson that not everyone who's smiling at you is actually a friend. And then his whole world got turned upside down. The company restructured, and just like that, Ravi lost his job. But this moment, this feeling of total collapse, it actually ended up being the greatest classroom he'd ever been in. See, when he lost his job title, Ravi felt like he had lost his entire identity. It was a brutal, brutal wake-up call. It forced him to learn that his worth as a human being has absolutely nothing to do with what's printed on a business card. He wasn't a failure. He was just in between chapters. This really shows a huge mental shift. The whole school system is designed around competition, right? Being better than the person sitting next to you. But life, especially after a setback, teaches a skill that is so much more valuable: adaptation. The ability to change, to learn, and to just keep moving forward. So, how did he rebuild? It wasn't some grand heroic gesture. It was all about small, humble, everyday steps.
He pushed his ego to the side and started learning new skills online. He started asking questions, and he had to accept that starting over from a smaller place isn't something to be ashamed of. That whole process, that was his real education.
So let's fast forward a few years. The Ravi we see now is completely transformed. But his success isn't measured by his job title or his bank statement anymore. No, it's measured by something much, much deeper. This is Ravi's new definition of being rich. It's being calm even when things are uncertain. It's being financially aware and in control. It's being emotionally stronger and mentally resilient. He finally figured out what it really meant to be wealthy. And this really gets to the heart of it all, his ultimate realization. All that time in school, he was taught that success was about getting ahead of other people. But life taught him that the real prize, the true definition of success, is just finding a way to be at peace with yourself. So let's look at the final syllabus from the School of Life. These are the lessons Ravi learned the hard way. That marks don't really measure how smart you are, that failure actually builds your character way faster than success does, and that it is 100% okay to be on your own timeline. Every single one of these is a critical course in the real-world curriculum. And I really want to leave you with this. If Ravi's story sounds familiar, if you feel like you're behind, or you're just learning some of these lessons right now, just remember this. School prepares us for exams, but life prepares us for reality. Learning to fall down and get back up doesn't make you weak, it makes you incredibly strong. Your journey isn't late, it's exactly on time, because it's uniquely yours.